everybody. Gary Laubach for GoLeopards.com, and it is a great pleasure today to introduce all of you to the new head volleyball coach here at Lafayette College, CJ Werneke. And CJ, first of all, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Gary.
If we got into all of CJ's background in volleyball, it would take us all day, so we won't be able to do all of that. But let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to Dayton, Ohio. That's where you went to high school.
Yes, sir.
But you were a bit of a migrant before that, right?
Yes, sir. My dad's a military background. My grandfather, two uncles, all in the military. So, travel a lot, and moved a lot. So understood that at a young age that was going to happen, and kind of embraced it and took the positive aspect of it.
But you did settle down a little bit during high school, right? And spent all your high school years.
Yes, sir.
in
High school.
You look like a football player, not a volleyball player. So let's talk first of all about your athletic background in high school.
Yeah, I grew up 9 years in Texas, Texas football. Yes, sir. And so, I was playing it from a young age, all the way to high school. I went to a pretty prominent high school in Dayton, Ohio called Centerville.
Okay.
A lot of pro athletes came from there. So I played football, and my sophomore year I tore my ACL. About 3 days before the opening game. So I had some, that was my experience, and then came back from it and, played my last 2 years, and then avenue to an education, right? Sports, athletics. So took advantage of that opportunity and went from there.
So you went to college basically as a football player?
Initially, that's what I was going for. It didn't work out.
Okay.
Right? And so I wanted to stay at the university that I was at because I found it found me, right? It resonated with me.
Right.
And so I had to figure out how to pay for school, right? So I started being the student assistant as an undergraduate. And I had some high school experience, junior and senior year, and there was just one coach. And so I came back from this tour of playing summer volleyball, and the coach of the tour was an assistant coach at Notre Dame. And I said, hey, Steve, how do you get into college coaching if you didn't play? Because he played at Ball State. And he goes, did your school have a women's team? Go see if you can help them out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then so I did that, and did it until I graduated, and they hired me full time.
So it almost sounds like it was almost an accidental introduction to volleyball, and then it became a love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Football was something I did my whole life. I started volleyball my junior year, just as another sport, training back, getting my knee ready, if it was going to be strong enough to do that, then I could play football, right?
Right.
And it just grabbed me. I can't really tell how or why. I loved it,
Wow. And then you became a coach at Stanford University for a bit, right? Where you went to school.
Yes, sir.
So that's where you kind of got the coaching bug for volleyball?
Yeah, I went to school to be a teacher.
Okay.
And I wanted to help young people through life lessons through the classroom, but this just happened to be through sport. And so I saw it kind of mirroring each other.
Right.
And so, hey, let's give this a go. And I haven't left the college campus since.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And you have had a lot of experiences as a coach, as an assistant coach, as a head coach, most notably at Rutgers for 10 years. So talk a little bit about the coaching experience from the aspect of being an assistant coach to being a head coach, and of course now starting up as a new head coach here at Lafayette.
Yeah, you're new, you're figuring things out, and each place you go, from East Tennessee State to Rutgers to Fairfield as a head coach, you pull a little bit there while you're kind of creating your own style and philosophy. It's nice to see the different levels of play, and then kind of just hone your craft. That's what it comes down to, Each step along the way, you learn something from the people around you, the players around you. I always say I've learned more from our players than they have from me. So it's just kind of taking and being a student of the game, so to speak, because I don't have a pedigree. I didn't play at Penn State or UCLA or anything like that, so I'm kind of a self-made coach with all those coaches that kind of fostered me along the way.
So obviously at Binghamton as an assistant coach, great career there for the last 3 years. Rutgers, a 10-year career, the only coach to beat 2 Big Ten teams in the same season. You have all kinds of accolades there. You go to Binghamton, you've got to tell a little bit, though, about the personal story of being this is a guy who has to love volleyball to do what you did at Binghamton.
Yeah, when you're looking for a new job, and I got let go at Columbia, the head coach got let go, so I knew the head coach at Seton Hall really well from our time in the Big East with Rutgers and Seton Hall being big rivals. She took the job up at Binghamton and said, hey, I want you to come up here, they want us to show them how to win. And so I was all about winning, right? I went up there and I met with the president. First time I ever met with the president when I interviewed. And I said, hey, what am I doing here?
Right.
Why are you meeting with me? He said, we hired Coach Ali to show us how to win, and she says she wants you to show us how to win. I said, where do I sign? That was the end of the questions. And
you should mention the asterisk, though. You lived in Washington, New
Jersey. Yeah. I commuted from Washington, New Jersey. So for the last 3 years, I've been about 4+ hours every day in a car. It was great. I mean, winning is awesome. It's intoxicating. And the drive was just part of that journey.
Talk about you as a coach. What do you bring to the program as a coach? What do you expect from your players? What do you think they expect from you? And how do you mesh those two things together?
I want to have a collaborative effort. I think I want buy-in and investment from our players. They have to be an active participant. If it all comes from the coaches, then there's something wrong because we're not the ones out there playing, right? So a collaborative yet authoritative environment. Authoritative just because somebody has to make decisions.
Right,
but in the what time we practice, the style of play, they're going to get all I got. And I expect that from them, right? I want to invest in them, and more importantly, I want them to invest in each other, right? I think, oftentimes in sports we talk about chemistry, right? And sometimes we talk about social chemistry, and that's kind of easily built, right? But let's talk about competitive chemistry, right? How do we hold each other accountable? Who are we when we're down, and what kind of environment do we need to be our best? Let's have those conversations, and I want to be the coach that kind of answers all the questions, like the how, the why, the purpose of what we're doing things, what we're trying to achieve and get out of it. So then I think when you have that, you relieve a lot of stress and anxiety, because now the unknown is known, so to speak, right? And so when there's unknown, oftentimes it's fearful, right? So what they can expect from me is just what you see is what you get. I'm an open book, and I'm going to be direct. I'm going to have some standards, and we're going to win and lose together.
I know you have a military background, as you mentioned, with your father and your grandfather. Is it sort of a military approach that you take in life besides just coaching?
No, I think, quick story. When I was a kid, I moved around a lot, and about the third time I moved, my dad was like, hey, he sat me down and he said, hey, listen, there's two types of people in life. You can find the positive or you can find the negative. And all you ever do is complain about moving. But you're missing out on all these great opportunities culturally and things like, so you have a choice. We're going to move a lot. So are you going to look for the best in each situation, or are you going to look at the negative? Wow. And so my approach is, okay, I want to get to know our players, and I want to know what they're great at. I want to talk about their strengths. I want to play to their strengths. I don't care about what they're not. I care about who they are and what they are, right? And how can they elevate our program? So I've already told them all this personally. This is my approach, right? I think too many organizations today look at what they're not rather than what they really are. And so, hey, let's be great at who we are and what we do.
Wow, you got me pumped up now. I'm ready to go, ready to go. Talk a little bit about your family.
Yeah, my wife and I, we met at Fairfield. She was a college softball coach, and I was the head volleyball coach. And so we were both student athletes and coaches at the collegiate level. Got married, we have 3 children. Our oldest daughter is Riley, she's 17. Our son Noah is 15, and our youngest daughter Parker is 13.
She's got to be ecstatic that you're no longer coaching in Binghamton, that you have yourself a rather nice ride every day here at Lafayette College.
Yes, sir. The whole family is, and it's really important to me to have my family be part of our community, Some of my best moments is seeing my family, after a loss and, hey, Dad, it's okay, or a great win, having them celebrating with us. And so I want them to be a part of this journey with me, They have been in the past, and sometimes they haven't because of, the location, but I think they're excited as well.
Lafayette welcomes you. They want to be a part of your journey too. CJ Werneke, the new head coach for Lafayette Volleyball.